I understand that feeling of feeling incapacitated, feeling overwhelmed with the situations of life surrounding you. That position where you are, and you feel like if something does not happen right now, that situation is going to get the best of you or probably see your hand. There was a time that I was in my quiet time, and there was this passage that my spirit keeps going back to. And I just felt like if this thing keeps replaying in my mind, there's something that God wants to pass to me through it. So I decided to listen. And through listening, I got some things that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. So if you're at that point in your life where you need answer, please pay attention to every detail of this video. And I just pray that you find that answer that you're looking for. So I'm going to be sharing 3 case studies with you from the Bible. The first case study is the story of the poor widow and his sons. The husband of that widow before he died was somebody that worked with Elisha, and he was very faithful and devoted, but eventually he died. So after he died, the creditors were now on the neck of the wife, that's the poor widow now, and they were threatening to take his 2 sons if she doesn't pay the debt. This woman now went to go and meet Prophet Elisha. Sir, my husband worked with you. He was really very devoted, but now he's dead and the creditors are on my neck. If I don't pay the debt, they're going to take my 2 sons as slave. There is nothing. I have no hope. I have nothing. We have nothing. Please help us. Then Prophet Elisha asked her, what do you have? So she said, I don't have anything, but I have this little flask of olive oil in my house. And Prophet Elisha said, now go and get jars and container, borrow from your neighbors, borrow from everybody, put them in your house, then shut the room of your house. Then that little flask of oil that you have, keep pouring into those jars. When one full, keep pouring, and the widow obeyed Prophet Elisha. So the sons were getting jars and containers into the house, and she kept pouring that little oil, and it kept multiplying, and jars were filling back to back. It got to a point, the woman now asked the sons, okay, bring more jars. I didn't know more jars. The sons now said, there is no more jars, there's no more container, so everything is filled up. We borrowed all that we could, and the oil stopped flowing. Then the woman now turned to Prophet Elisha, what should I do with this? Like, I've done what you said. And Prophet Elisha said, sell the olive oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live with the rest. We're coming back to that story. I'm going to bring out certain points for you from that story, but let's just keep it aside and let's just move right to the second case study. You see, that first case study is in the book of 2 Kings chapter 4 verse 1 to 7. Second case study I'm going to be sharing with you is in the book of 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 8 to 16. Is basically the story of a widow and his son. There was famine in the land. There was nothing. In fact, there was nothing. Nothing was in the land. So she was gathering firewood to make literally their last supper, because after that meal, they were prepared to die. So she met with Prophet Elijah. So Prophet Elijah now told her, please, can I get a little water? As she was about to go, Prophet Elijah then said, please, can you add a bread to it? And the woman was like, I don't have anything. Nothing. There's nothing for me and my son. In fact, this firewood I'm gathering is to make our last bread, like our last supper. Because after we finish eating it, we're just going to be waiting for our death. The prophet Elijah now said, don't worry, out of that flour, that little flour that you have, and olive oil, make bread for me and make for you and your son as well. That flour and olive oil would never run dry again. And she believed the prophet, went and make the bread, brought the prophet's own to him, and he and his son ate as well. And during that period of time, because God did not send rain to that particular area, so there was nothing to eat. But during all those periods, the prophet was with them, and they had there was always flour, and there was only always olive oil in that jar, just like the prophet has prophesied, and they were okay throughout the season. So no death, and everything was fine up until when God sent rain. The third case study that I'm going to be sharing with you, majority of us are quite familiar with the story, is how Jesus Christ fed 5,000 men with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. Quite a number of gospel recorded it, but my reference would be Mark 6, chapter 30 to 44. So, having shared this scenario with you, if you want to be out of that situation where you feel like, just like the helpless widow or those people that Jesus fed, and or that woman that there was nothing in the land. We know how the economy is right now. People can barely survive. A lot of things is going wrong. People are tired. You don't even know what to do. Debts here and there. There's no way out, and you just feel like everything is getting worse and worse. What are the steps that you need to take? The first is going to be to establish a relationship with God, have a relationship with God. It is very, very important. You know why? When Prophet Elijah was going to that town, it was God that told him to go to that widow's place, to go and meet that widow. The widow must have gotten the attention of God for God should to send Elijah to a house. Elijah would have stayed, Prophet Elijah could have stayed anywhere else. But because God knows her, so she already has a relationship with God. So God intentionally wanted to save her and her son. And the relationship she had with God was what made her to be identified by God. Of course, a lot of people have died before that a story, because there was definitely nothing left in the land. So people are dying of hunger. So imagine the scenario for God to just pick her out and say, Prophet Elijah, go here. Those people that were fed by Jesus Christ and his disciples, they wanted to learn more. They wanted to be around Jesus. That was why they even followed Jesus Christ to that place where he decided to be apart with his disciples so that they can relax and rest. They still wanted to experience God, experience Jesus. So they followed Jesus. People that were fed was actually those people that wanted to draw from him. They were following him and they were fed. So if you really want to experience that miracle of multiplication, where we just want to be saved out of that situation that seems like it wants to get the best of us, we need to establish relationship with God. So the second step will be presenting what you have. Imagine Jesus is asking you now, what do you have? What are you going to present to God? Know that it could be your time, it could be your money, it could be your resources, it could be your gift, it could be your talent, it could be your treasure, it could be hidden treasures, it could be anything. You have to search to give God something to work with. There's something. If you don't have anything, if you have life, you have time. You have your time. There's gifts. God has deposited gift inside all of us. I think the mistake that we often make sometimes is that we underestimate that little thing that we have, and we just feel like with the magnitude of problems and situation we are facing, that thing is irrelevant. We shouldn't look at it like something tangible. It could be very intangible. It could be something that we can easily overlook. So don't be like that man in the parable of the talent. So the one that had two multiplied it to four, the other one that had, but the one that had one went to go and bury it. Why? Because he did not see the usefulness of that one. He could not imagine that something great could come out of that one talent. And a lot of us are like that. The reason why we're in the situation where we are and we are suffering and we're in that problem because we cannot identify that thing that we need to present to God so that He can work with it. So imagine Jesus is asking you now, what do you have? What will you present? Third step, after you present what you have, you must have the mind of sacrifice. Imagine the story of the poor widow. He could have just she could have just told Prophet Elijah that I don't have anything. In her mind she's like, so this last one that I have, I should not come and give you so that I would die fast. But out of that lack that she was, like a very bad situation, she was still willing to share. When you present your sacrifice, make sure you do it with a heart of thanksgiving. When the disciples brought that 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes for Jesus, he gave thanks for that limited supply, even that small thing that could not even cater for the rest of the crowd, for the whole crowd. He gave thanks, and what happened? He multiplied. Then the fourth point will be to put in the work. Look at the situation of the woman with the olive oil that had 2 sons. The prophet said, gather jars, borrow even from your neighbors, start pouring into the oil and into the jars, and it was becoming filled up. The work she was doing was to be pouring it. The work there was pouring into jars, pouring it into jars, and it became full. The Bible recorded that when she stopped pouring, the oil stopped flowing. The same thing with the disciples, Jesus and his disciples, when they were feeding 5,000. Jesus shared that bread among the disciples. Say, share, keep sharing. So that was the work that was put into it. They were sharing to the multitudes, sharing to the multitude. He did not just say, oh, bless it, and he did not just bless it, and all of a sudden, the bread and 2 fishes, bread and fish appeared in the hands of all of them there. They put in the work to share among the people that was there. So when you want that situation to change for you, it's not enough to have that relationship. You need to have that relationship with God. You have to present what you have. Then when you do something that invites God's blessing into that thing, you are not going to stop there. You're going to put in the work. The work is going to guarantee the result. It's going to bring forth the manifestation of that thing, that blessings of God. It says faith without work is dead. So you have to put in the work to wait. Then the final point will now be to be patient and wait for the manifestation. When you have done everything that is needed, you have to be patient and wait for the manifestation of that thing to come to pass and see how God will work. God uses situations that you'll be like, hopeless situation, and He will just turn it around. And that's why they say the stone that has been rejected has become the cornerstone. That's how God operates. He turns around situations. He can just pick somebody from the position of slave and just put the person in high places. That's how God moves. So, and His timing usually are not always our timing. So you must learn to trust God's timing. Just while you wait, make sure that you have done those things that are required of you. And I just want to pray today. I just want to join my faith with yours today, that thing that seems like there's no hope for you, that situation that wants to get the best of you, God will help you today. Even as you put to use the things that you've learned today, God will help you, and it will change your situation around for the best. I really do want to thank you for joining me on this video. The amazing thing is that just as you are being blessed by videos on Watch Moyo herself is being blessed. So let's keep the trend going. Make sure you share, and if you've not subscribed, please do subscribe so that we can grow this community of love together. And if this video has blessed you, please be sure to click on that like icon and share to others too, so that they can be blessed through you. Until next time, when I come your way with another beautiful episode, don't forget that on Watch Moya, Moya is a vessel and God is doing all of the work. Bye.